The story of Dottir, which is the name of the movie, evolves around this abandoned farm in Iceland, where we find a deranged individual who has a bipolar disorder. And it is a story about the obsession and the attachment that one person can have over another person. And we have our main protagonist, Leah, who comes into this farm and she finds herself endangered because she has to face completely different situations that she has faced before, connected to this landlord that lives in the farm. And she's also coping with her inner demons because the landlord actually mirrors the problems or the struggles that she's probably had for years, but she hasn't faced them yet. And it's not only the story about the obsession and the animalistic attachment to another person, but it's also about coping with the fear of being alone or not being alone. And sometimes one is worse than the other, and it's not always very obvious which is which. So these can be very tricky waters to navigate in. Um, Iceland for me is a country which is completely different from anything that I've seen before, and it didn't really matter where I turned, it was completely different, and I felt this strange sense of discomfort, and yet I felt how all of my body and soul purified from any dust that I've carried from, from the city or from life, and I just felt a sudden relief that I can finally feel what I'm supposed to feel, and I'm supposed to be creative and really connect to the environment that I'm in and also to the people. And when I started to get to know people in Iceland, I noticed that they have one thing in common. They do not let people approach them very easily, but once they do, you create this very strong family-like bond that you carry for the rest of your life. Iceland is really a hard environment. It's ever changing. It's never constant. It's different behind every corner. You come across the desert, ice fields covered in volcanic ash. You see these like ancient mountains which look like the moon, and nothing is like anything you've ever seen. It's very raw, and it's very rough, and in this roughness you finally strip away anything that would hold you back in terms of your expression. And I just find that fascinating how people can live meaningful, deep, raw lives so far away from anybody else. And you can also come across these really funny things like since it's such a small country, you have a large chance of coming across a person that's somehow related to you. And so they developed this Have I Slept with My Cousin app, which usually people open on Saturday morning or Sunday morning after they've had, you know, a rough night of partying, and they have to find if they actually have slept with their cousin. So